What is up, guys? I'm your friendly neighborhood web war fanatic, and today I have the pleasure of revealing two new cards from Winter Soldier's Hero Pack for Marvel Champions. Thank you so much to Fantasy Flight Games for this opportunity, and I want to give a huge shout out to all of you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, this would never be possible, so thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone who watches these videos and subscribe and all that stuff. After we review these two new cards, I will be doing a ally ranking of all the S.H.I.E.L.D allies in the game, and I'll be ranking this new card that I was able to review as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first card that Fantasy Flight Games gave for me to review for y'all is Deathlock Henry Hayes here. And I do want to make a clarification here. This is not the same Deathlock from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Show, that TV show. I love that show. And in episode 1, we met Mike Peterson, which is a different Deathlock than Henry Hayes here. But the comic book character Henry Hayes was inspired by the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, and it was inspired by the Mike Peterson character. So Deathlock is an aggression ally that comes in Winter Soldier's Hero Pack. Winter Soldier's pre-con deck is in aggression. And Henry Hayes here is a 3-cost ally with 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 hit points. So really quickly, let's go through the stat line super quick. So for a regular 3-cost ally in Marvel Champions, having 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 hit points is completely on curve. If an ally has 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 hit points, that would be considered above curve, above average. Sometimes the 3-cost ally will have 1 thwart and 2 attack instead, but I definitely think that having 2 thwart is better than having 2 attack. One thing to note with Deathlock is that he does take 2 consequential damage whenever he is thwarting, so I would consider his stat line just average, straight on the average line for being a 3-cost ally. But his ability does kind of change that, right? So he does have the Cyborg and Shield traits, and as a response after Deathlock enters play, it's not a forced response, so you don't have to do it, but you probably want to do it anyways because it's pretty good. Search your deck and discard pile for a copy of Shield Sidearm and attach it to him. So Shield Sidearm is the other card that Fantasy Flight Games allow me to review for y'all. So let's go and take a look at that card. And we have the Shield Sidearm right here. It's a 1-cost upgrade also in the aggression aspect. It has the weapon trait. Attached to a Shield character. Limit 1 per character, and it comes in with 3 ammo counters. It does have that useless keyword, so when the ammo counters are all gone, this card will get discarded. As an interrupt, and once again, it's not a forced interrupt, so you don't have to trigger it. Whenever attached character makes a basic attack, exhaust Shield Sidearm and remove 1 ammo counter from it, and then deal 1 damage to an enemy. So this is a pretty cool ally upgrade here, and it's very thematic to being kind of like a Shield Sidearm. But one thing to note with this card is that although it can attach to allies, and it originally is supposed to be for Deathlock here, it is not limited to only allies, right? It says attached to a Shield character. That can include any Shield character. So if your hero has a Shield trait, like if you're playing Maria Hill or Nick Fury from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. expansion, you can actually play the Shield Sidearm and attach it to your own character, right? You can also have multiple copies of Shield Sidearm in play, only 1 per character, but you can give 1 to an ally like Deathlock, and then 1 to your identity, and also 1 to another player if you're playing in multiplayer. So Shield Sidearm is not limited to specifically allies, but it is limited to Shield characters. Now the interrupt here on the Shield Sidearm is very, very interesting. So at face value, it's pretty simple. When a character makes a basic attack, you exhaust the sidearm and you remove ammo counter and you do 1 damage, right? So if it's attached to Deathlock here, Henry Hayes, because when you play him, you can tutor the sidearm and attach it to him. Whenever you're attacking for 1 with Deathlock, you do an additional 1 damage, right? So it's basically just attacking for 2. So that effectively makes Deathlock a really powerful ally, and he's going to be above curve, right? Because then he'll be a 3-cost ally that thwarts for 2, attacks for 2, and has 3 hit points, and he can do 3 attack activations with the Shield Sidearm just because there's 3 uses for that card, so he can perfectly even that out, right? So he's already going to be above average in terms of his stat line, just having a good, solid stat line for a 3-cost ally. But the way that the interrupt works is very unique. It says, first off, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So since it's 1 damage to any enemy, it does not have to be the same enemy that you're attacking. So if there's, for example, 2 minions that both have 1 hit point each, or 1 hit point left, Deathlock can attack one of them. The interrupt happens first, and then he can deal 1 damage to the other one, defeat that minion, and his 1 attack will go through on, this minion, right? Since it also does not have the attack keyword on the Shield Sidearm, it's not considered an attack. So if you're pinging that 1 damage off, to a enemy that has retaliate, Deathlock does not take retaliate, and if your hero has a shoot sidearm and they're using it, you also will not take retaliate because it does not have that attack keyword. I think that's pretty cool and thematic, right? Because it's like a gun, and then you're kind of just shooting someone, like over there. They can't retaliate against you, but you can still also do your regular basic attack on someone that's right in front of you or a different character. Another thing that the shoot sidearm helps you get around are tough status cards, right? Because it is an interrupt. So let's say you have a character like, let's say you buff Deathlock up to like 3 attack. Whenever he attacks for 3, the interrupt will happen first. So before his attack goes through, you can trigger the shoot sidearm, and if the enemy that he's attacking has a tough status card, you can ping that 1 damage off from the shoot sidearm, knock out that tough status card, and Deathlock's regular attack of 3, if after you buff him up, will do the full damage, to that enemy. So if you are facing a lot of minions that have like tough status cards and stuff like that, the shoot sidearm will come in really handy for your hero and for allies. We can also compare Deathlock Henry Hayes to the first Deathlock in Marvel Champions, which is Unit L17. This is a 4-cost basic ally, 2 Thor, 2 attack, and 3 hit points. So that stat line is not very good for a 4-cost ally, although it would be very good for a 3-cost ally. This ally has a hero response after he enters play, similar to Deathlock Henry Hayes, but you can choose an upgrade in any player's discard pile with the cost of 1 or less that can be attached to Deathlock and attach the upgrade to Deathlock. So unlike Henry Hayes, Unit L17 cannot look through your deck for a upgrade. It has to already be in your discard pile, but you have the flexibility to look for any upgrade versus just the shoot sidearm in particular. So a little bit more versatility at a little bit of a higher cost, versus Deathlock is just going to be cheaper, being a 3-cost ally, but you're limited in the shoot sidearm. For the shoot sidearm, we can compare this to another 1-cost aggression upgrade like the attack training. So shoot sidearm can only attach to a shoot character, versus the attack training can attach to an X-Men ally, and a max 1 shooting upgrade per ally. The attached ally gets +1 attack and +2 hit points. So on paper, the attack training is going to be strong whenever you're attaching that to the ally, but the shoot sidearm has the versatility of pinging off toughs, hitting multiple enemies, and being able to attach to an identity like a hero character instead of just limited to just allies. Another cool thing with the shoot sidearm is that it does have that weapon trait. So any other cards that have synergy with weapon upgrades can synergize with the shoot sidearm. So for example, Lock and Load is a 1-cost player side scheme. Whenever it's defeated, you can search your deck and discard pile for any weapon upgrade with the cost of 3 or less and put it into play. That does include the shoot sidearm. One thing to know with the shoot sidearm is that it's not like you can't bypass the attach to shoot character, because whenever you put it into play, you still have to attach it to a shoot character. It's not like play only if you have the shoot trait. If it said play only if you have the shoot trait, then Lock and Load could cheat this in, but since it says attach to shoot character, you do have to still attach it to a character that has that shoot trait. So although you don't need the shoot trait to play this card, and you don't need to have the shoot trait to clear off Lock and Load, when it comes into play the shoot sidearm, you do have to put it on one of your shoot characters or a friendly shoot character. Another cool card that can synergize with shoot sidearm is Fusillade. It's a 2-cost event. Hero action attack exhausts a weapon upgrade you control and do 5 damage to an enemy. So if you do control the shoot sidearm, or if it's attached to one of your shoot allies, you are in control of the upgrade, and it has a weapon trait. So it is a weapon upgrade that you control. You can exhaust the shoot sidearm and then do 5 damage to an enemy. Hey guys, it's Future Web Warrior Fanatic right here, and I want to give a huge shout out to the MCM podcast. They just reviewed this new aggression event right here from the Winter Soldier Hero Pack called Firepower. Definitely go check out their reviews. I'll put the link to that somewhere in the description of this video. But I thought it would be a huge disservice in this video for me to not mention this new card, because it synergizes really well with the shoot sidearm. So this is a 1-cost event. It's called Firepower, and it's a hero action attack, has the attack keyword, so it is an attack event. Exhaust up to 3 weapon upgrades you control. For each upgrade exhaust this way, choose an enemy and do 3 damage to it. This attack gains ranged, so super powerful because it's going to ignore retaliate, and it's only 1 cost. It can do a total of 9 damage, and one of the best targets that you want to exhaust for this is going to be the shoot sidearm here, because it's only 1 cost to play a shoot sidearm. Super duper cheap. We want really cheap weapon upgrades so that we can swarm the field with them, and whenever we play a Firepower, we just exhaust all of them and do tons of damage. And with Deathlock, he will tutor out a shoot sidearm as well, so you get that shoot sidearm, like one of them, out for free. You can play another one on your identity or something like that, and hopefully you have other weapon upgrades in play. So yeah, I think Firepower works really well with the shoot sidearm. Definitely really cool synergy there, and the shoot sidearm does not have the restricted keyword, so you can actually have 3 copies of this in play. It's cheap, Not restricted, totally works with firearm here. And you can definitely combine this with any other restricted weapons that you have. But yeah, I just wanted to mention really quickly here for the cost of firepower, where you have to exhaust up to 3 weapon upgrades that you control. Shoot sidearm, I think it's going to be one of the best targets for this card. If you're playing a hero like Spider-Woman Jessica Drew, who has a shoot trait only in Alter Ego, and she does not have the shoot trait in her hero form, while she's in Alter Ego, you can actually play the shoot sidearm and attach it to her because she is a shield character. And whenever you flip up to hero form, the shoot sidearm will stay attached to Spider-Woman even though she no longer has a shoot trait because sidearm is already attached to her. Another thing to note with the shoot sidearm is that although it has all the advantages of not having that attack keyword, so it's not an attack, there's also a few disadvantages, right? So if you are playing multi-aspect hero like Spider-Woman, or if you're playing in multiplayer and someone gives you float like a butterfly here, where it is an interrupt, when a character you control attacks a confused enemy, increase the amount of damage that attack deals to that enemy by 1. So if a character you control has a shoot sidearm, and you also have control of the float like a butterfly from the justice aspect, whenever that character with the shoot sidearm attacks enemy, the shoot sidearm will still only do 1 damage because it's not damage from an attack, although the actual attack instance from that basic attack will do an additional damage with the float like a butterfly. When playing this card, it's going to be important to note other cards interact with damage from attacks and damage not from attacks. So another example is the Kree Combat Armor from Ronin's recommended modular set, the Kree Militants. Reduce the amount of damage attached character takes from each attack by 1. The shoot sidearm will still be able to do its 1 damage without any mitigation, but the actual attack after the shoot sidearm will be reduced by 1 damage. Overall, these are 2 really cool and thematic cards with some very unique synergy in the aggression aspect. Alright, so we are jumping over to the tier list here. So I have every single shoot traded ally in Marvel Champions other than hero specific allies, right? So these are allies that you can include whenever you're deck building. So for tiers here, we have the S tier, which are just all include allies, just super duper good. We have the A tier, so these allies here will be always good. B tier are allies that are situationally good, so sometimes they are good, sometimes you don't want to play them because they might not be good in that specific situation. Next, in the C tier, we have allies that need everything to go right for them to be good. So sometimes this could mean that they need help setting up. They're just not a universally, powerful ally. And then next we have the D tier, which are allies that will usually just be a resource card if I draw them for any reason. Usually I won't even put in my deck whenever I'm deck building, but if they are there, I'm pitching them as a resource. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the list here. With our first ally, we have Agent 13, Sharon Carter. And she's a pretty powerful basic ally for a shield aspect. It's a 4-cost ally with 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 4 hit points with a shield and spy traits. As a response, after Agent 13 attacks or thwarts, choose a shield support and you can ready up that support. So it's really good in multiplayer as well because you can ready up other people's helicarriers, but you can also ready up your own helicarrier. And we will be evaluating her as if we're playing a shield deck, and I think that she is a always good ally. Whenever I draw her up, I'm always, trying to play her, but sometimes I just need more board management, and being a 4-cost ally means that she is a little bit lower tempo. So since she's a little bit slower, I can't always play her, but she is always going to be good if she is down on the table, being able to ready up shoot supports every single turn. She does have 4 life, so that's pretty good for being a 4-cost ally with several activations that synergize with her ability each time she does activate. The next ally that we're going to be looking at is Agent Coulson here. He's a 3-cost justice ally with 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 hit points. So that is your, on the curve stat line for a 3-cost ally. So I'll consider that stat line good. As a response, after Coulson enters play, search your deck and discard pile for a prep card and add to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So a prep card, usually I like to get Spycraft as an encounter card cancel, but there's so many other prep cards in the game now, like we're practice playing, and just new powerful prep cards that came out in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wave here. So Agent Coulson definitely got better, but I think I'm gonna have to, since we have like Maria Hill and Nick Fury also in this list, I'll probably put Agent Coulson in the always good. And I do think that he has more situations where he's going to be better than Agent 13, although Agent 13's peak potential is higher than Coulson's. I think that they're both just really solid A tier level allies. Next, we have Black Widow here from the core set. She's a 3-cost protection ally, 2 thwart, 1 attack, which is good for being 3 cost, but only 2 hit points. So a little bit below average here, under the curve here with her stat line, only having those 2 hit points. As interrupt, it's not a forced interrupt, so you don't have to do it. But whenever a card is reviewed from the encounter deck, you can exhaust Black Widow and spend a mental resource. cancel effects of that card, and discard it, then reveal another card from the encounter deck. So basically like a built-in spycraft. One cool thing with this card is that you can use it in your alter ego, so it's not a hero interrupt or alter ego limited type of interrupt. You can use an alter ego and a hero form. You just spend a mental resource and you still get another encounter card back, right? But the cool thing is you can cancel the entire effects of the card, including like a surge from under fire or something like that. So she is, I think when I first started playing the game, I thought she was really good. But the more that I played, I feel like that she's sometimes good, right? If you cancel a card and then you get a worse encounter card back, she's not that good. If you cancel a really nasty card and you get a really weak card like a minion or something like that with like low hit points and low attack, low scheme, then she's really good, right? So it just kind of depends the type of card that you're canceling. It depends on the situation that you're in. If you can really, afford to spend that mental resource and exhaust her to do that, right? Because if you're doing that, she's not able to thwart your following turn. You just can't really help manage the board pressure with that if you're using that ability. So overall, a solid ally, but sometimes good, sometimes not as good. Next, let's take a look at Dum Dum Dugan here. He's a 5-cost ally with 3 thwart, 3 attack, and 5 hit points. Crazy, crazy expensive ally with crazy stats and crazy hit points. As an interrupt, it's not forced. Whenever you use one of Dum Dum Dugan's basic powers, you can exhaust up to 3 S.H.I.E.L.D cards you control. For each card you exhausted this way, Dum Dum Dugan gets +1 to that power for this use. So one thing to note is that he does take 3 consequential damage for thwarting. So if you thwart twice, he's going to be gone. You can attack 3 times though, which is really good, especially if you exhaust a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D cards to boost that stat. Overall, I think that he has really high potential and high burst damage, but he's going to be sometimes good. Because if you need to use those shield supports to do other things, then you can't really exhaust him for Dum Dugan. And he's a 5-cost ally, so he's kind of spending your entire turn. So if the turn you play him, you're not immediately doing something with him, it's not going to feel as good. So yeah, overall, I think he's sometimes good. You can't really use him, early game. He's really a late game type of ally, and in that perfect situation, he can be really good. So yeah. Next, let's take a look at Grant Ward here. He is one of the newer allies in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D expansion. He is pretty crazy. So 0-cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 hit points. One negative thing is that he cannot defend though. As a force response, so this one you have to trigger no matter what. You can't really skip this because it is forced. After you review a treachery, you may spend a mental resource. If you do not, take damage equal to Grant Ward's attack and then remove him from the game. This is a tough one. So I love to include Grant Ward with allies that do not have a lot of good Thor in their kit. So Thor is my favorite example. Grant Ward works great with Thor because he's a 0-cost ally that can come in and Thor for 2 and Thor for 2 every single turn. Thor can also build his economy up, and with the Quinn Care, you can use that wild resource as a mental resource here for Grant Ward to keep him in play, and he can just activate for 3 times for a 0-cost ally. So 6 threat, for 0 cost is totally insane. Having 2 attacks is really good as well. Grant Ward's going to be a tough one. He's definitely the best ally that we looked at so far. Is he an auto include? I don't think he's an auto include because for situations where you don't have, a hero that has access to like an easy mental resource, it could be pretty bad to take Grant Ward's, effect, take his damage, and then you remove him from the game, so you won't be able to get the full use out of him. So you really want to have like a Quinn Care or another hero that can spend that mental resource, like Peter Parker's Spider-Man, for example, with his scientist ability in his alter ego form, or like ingenuity, right, for genius traded characters. I will put him here in the always good. I think he's the strongest ally that we've seen so far, but he's not really an all include because of that mental resource damage right there. But having a 0-cost ally that can just come in, thwart for 2 or attack for 2, that's kind of even better than having like a 0-cost event that deals 2 damage or removes 2 threat, right, which is considered good for being 0-cost. So yeah, I think that Grant Ward is a really good ally here. Next we have Maria Hill. Everybody knows Maria Hill. Let's go ahead and just put her up here to the S tier. 2-cost leadership ally that came in the core set, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points. Insane stat line for being a 2-cost ally. Response after she enters play, not when you play her from the hand or anything like that, just every single time that she enters play, every single player draws a card. That's insane. At 4 players, everyone's drawing cards. That's 4 cards drawn, 1 per each player. Even in true solo, she's really good. So, she's an auto include. If you're playing leadership, I mean, even if I'm not playing a S.H.I.E.L.D deck, if I'm playing like an X-Men deck or an Avengers deck, I always have to consider possibly putting in Maria Hill just because of how powerful that she is. So yeah, very, very strong ally there. Next we have Deathlock, Henry Hayes. Okay, so we already know what he does. 3-cost ally with the 2 thwart, 1 attack, 3 hit points, but kind of almost basically just has 2 attack as well because he always tutors in that S.H.I.E.L.D siren whenever you play him. So it's kind of a 3-cost ally with 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 hit points, which is very good. That's kind of above average here. I think that he's going to be an ally. Oh, it's tough. He's either going to be a top of sometimes good or always good. Is he always good? No, I'm gonna say he's sometimes good. So the thing is, his stat line's always gonna be good. So that's kind of why I had trouble evaluating that. But I think that you also want a very powerful effect here to be in the allies here that have always good abilities, right? Grant Ward's kind of an anomaly. His effect is negative, but his stat line is just way too good because he's a zero cost ally, right? So he kind of like cheats himself up there. But I think Deathlock is always gonna be solid whenever you play him. But if you would rather get an effect in, right, like Agent 13's effect or Agent Coast's effect, Deathlock won't be as good. He'll be solid to have in play, but if you need your ally to do other stuff, then you won't be playing him. Next, we have Melinda May. She is a 4-cost basic ally that also came in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. expansion, and she's also from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show. So 4-cost basic ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 hit points. That stat line would be really good if she was 3 costs, but being 4 costs, it's not the best. We probably want a little bit more out of a 4-cost ally, but she does have an ability. As a response, after Melinda May uses a basic power, so either whenever she thwarts or attacks, you can look at the top card of the encounter deck and you may discard that card. I am actually not the biggest fan of that ability. I wish we could see at least 2 cards. No, only 1 card will usually just be the boost card, which is not that impactful. But if you do have the villain stunned or confused, she's going to be very good because then you can take a look at the encounter card and then possibly throw it away if it's very nasty. So in the situation where the villain is stunned or confused, I think she's very good. Otherwise, she's not going to be as good. I think she'll be either a B tier or C tier level ally. I'm going to put her in the C tier. I think that she needs everything to go right in terms of just being a 4-cost ally for this stat line. It's decent, it's just not exactly what we want. So her ability really has to trigger well for us for it to be good, right? If you get like a boost card that's nasty and you discard it, but you get another nasty boost card that wasn't a bad encounter card, and then that caused you to get a nasty encounter card, then she'll kind of mess up your entire turn, right? So in a situation where she's doing that, she's not that good. You have other scry abilities and you're looking through, a bunch of cards in the encounter deck, and if she's helping you get rid of one to like put everything in the correct order, then she's very, very good. But I think she definitely needs everything to go right to maximize her full ability. So next ally that we have here is Mockingbird, Bobby Morse, 3-cost basic ally from the core set, just 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 hit points. So that is a terrible stat line for a 3-cost ally, but she has a very powerful ability here when she enters place on an enemy. So that's just going to be a solid ability here. I'll put her in the, is she even always good? She's always good against non-steady, non-star enemies, but against steady stalwart, she just won't be always good, right? Man, it's tough. It's tough. Is she always? No, she's not gonna be always good. I'll put her in the B tier. I kind of want to even drop her down actually. Man, it's tough because there's so many enemies that have access to setting star, even if it's gonna be like temporary. So if they get that card out, then she won't be very good at all. She's basically useless unless you get that stun, but the stun can be so powerful, especially in true solo. But I think in multiplayer though, the stun's not going to be as impactful, although it's still good. I'm going to drop her here below Black Widow. I think that Black Widow can be used, in more situations. And I think Deathlock's, just stat line is just very good to have on the table. Versus Mockingbird really needs her stun to be effective. If the enemy can be stunned, I mean, she's probably going to be like, top always good to all include, but if the enemy can't be stunned, she's going to be a resource card, right? So I think I'm just going to balance it out and put her here in the B tier. All right, next we have Monica Chang. So 3-cost Justice ally with 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 hit points. So once again, a very terrible stat line, even worse than Mockingbird for a 3-cost ally, right? It's only having 2 hit points for Monica Chang. As a response, after Monica Chang enters play, search your deck hand and discard pile, so anywhere you want for a copy of the surveillance team, and then put it into play. Then place 1 snoop counter on every single surveillance team that you control. So that is a pretty powerful ability. I think it has a very, very high upside, but the low side is not going to be as good, right? So if you're trying to set up a bunch of like thwarting on the main, thwarting on the table, then getting those surveillance teams on the table would be really good. She works well with other cards. I want to have a bunch of shield supports like Dum Dum Dugan or Agent 13. I think I'm going to put Monica Chang in the sometimes good, also around this area. I'm going to put her behind Black Widow as well. Don't get me wrong, Monica Chang, I think that if you have 2 surveillance team already on the table, and you have the breathing room to play a Monica Chang to grab a 3rd surveillance team, then she will be like, all include, always good, like very, very high up. But I think that you always have to build your deck with 3 surveillance teams to really maximize her full value. She's still decent if you only have 1, but having 3 is going to be really good, and having them already on the table is going to be even better, right? So she kind of does need that to go right, but I think she is better than C tier, so I'm going to put her here in the B tier. Next, we have Nick Fury Sr. here, the classic Nick Fury from the comics. But let's actually do our regular Nick Fury from Marvel Champions core set because I think that he's going to be easier to evaluate and we can base the Nick Fury Sr. off of him. So Nick Fury is a 4-cost ally, 2 Thor, 2 attack, and 3 hit points. So that's not that great for being a 4-cost ally, but he has a very powerful force response. You do have to trigger because it is forced. After Nick Fury enters play, choose one. Remove 2 that from a scheme, or draw 3 cards, or do 4 damage to enemy at the end of the round. If Nick Fury is still in play, you have to discard him. One of the best allies in the game, if not the best ally in the game. Being a 4-cost ally, refunding his cost, drawing you back 3 cards, 2 Thor, 2 attacks, so you can activate whatever you want, and then he'll always chump block for you as well. So he's going to go here in the S tier. The question is he, oh man, is he better than Maria Hill? It's really tough. Maria Hill, you spend 2, you draw 1 back. Nick Fury, you spend 4, you draw 3 back. So pretty much the same thing, except Nick, you need to pay the 4 costs up front. I'm going to put Nick above Maria Hill. I think that he's a little bit more versatile because so many times I actually play Nick Fury to do the 4 damage and it actually helps, end the game because the villain has like a guard min and the 4 damage will bypass guard, stuff like that, right? You can also attack for 2 as well. And then they're both essentially, 1 activation and they block. So Nick Fury being forced to block there is not that bad of an effect because if you don't block with him, then he'll leave play anyways. So you almost always want to block with Nick Fury. So yeah, I'm going to put Nick Fury here as the best ally, the best shield ally in the game above Maria Hill. And next we have Nick Fury Sr. here, who is very, very similar to Nick Fury. Same stat line, very similar effect. It's also a force response. After Nick Fury Sr. enters play, we can choose one, either remove 3 threat from a scheme, so that's going to be better. However, that is the worst option that I pick for Nick Fury here. I almost never pick the one to remove 2 threat from a scheme. Usually drawing 3 cards, sometimes doing 4 damage, almost never removing 2 threat. So having 3 threat does make that more enticing. But you draw 2 cards instead of 3, so that is way, way worse. I don't want to just draw 2 cards. Or you give a shield character a tough status card, which could be really good if you're facing enemies, with overkill. But at the end of the round, if Nick Fury Sr. is in play, this card has the similar type of effect to Nick Fury. But I think that having less card draw and more Thor actually drops him down an entire tier is even always good. I don't know why, but drawing 2 cards feels way, way worse for a 4-cost ally than drawing 3 cards. And he also has the lead play at the end of the round. The tough stats card, I'm actually going to drop him down to the B tier here. And I'm going to put him behind Mockingbird. I think he's just not that good. We need to draw at least 3 cards, guys. And then not having the 4 damage also stinks. Whenever I'm playing Nick Fury Sr., I'm usually getting the tough stats card or just drawing the 2 cards. Even though the 3 Thor, is good. But for a 4-cost ally, and 4-cost ally coming into Thor for 3, and also can Thor himself. So for 5 is a lot of big Thoring, but it costs 4. 4 is just very expensive for that. Yeah, so I'm going to just put him here. I think he's sometimes good if you can get full value out of his effect, but he's just very expensive versus the Nick Fury from the core set. If you don't have much resources, if you played this Nick Fury from the core set, you're still drawing back 3 cards to refund his cost. That's kind of the most value that you can get out of Nick Fury, just getting in almost a free ally, right? Getting an ally that only costs 1 is just very powerful. Versus this Nick Fury will almost always cost you a lot, right? He's going to draw you back 2 cards, so he's costing 2 basically to do that, and you have to pay the 4 up front. Just having less draw power by 1 card really impacts him and drops him all the way down here to the B tier. Next, we're going to take a look at Quake here. So 2-cost Justice ally with 1 Thor, 2 attack, and 2 hit points. So this is actually a very good stat line for a 2-cost ally. A lot of 2-cost allies have 1 Thor and 1 attack and 2 hit points. So having the 1/2/2 is pretty good. And she also has a response. After a minion schemes, exhaust Quake, do 2 damage to that minion. So pretty powerful effect here that can be really good because she does not take constant damage or any damage from using this ability. I'm going to put her in the B tier. If it was just her effect can have very high potential, but I would put it in the C tier if it was just the effector, similar to Melinda May, because the effect is kind of niche, but just being a 2-cost ally is very powerful. 1 Thor, 2 attack is, a great stat line, so I'm going to put her here in the sometimes good, and the stat line there, I think I'm going to put her above Deathlock, because, 2-cost ally is really good. Yeah, just being 2 costs is just very useful, so you can play other things with your turn. Overall, I think that Deathlock has better abilities and a way better stat line and more activations, but he's 3 costs. If you can't afford him, he's not really doing anything, and it being 2 costs is just way cheaper than being 3, and being 3 is like way cheaper than like being 4. So yeah, I'm gonna put Quake here as number 1 in the B tier. Next, we're going to take a look at Slingshot here, also from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. She's a 3-cost leadership ally, 2 Thor, 2 attack, only 1 consequent damage for each activation, and 3 hit points. So already, this is already a fantastic stat line. A lot of leadership allies have this really good type of stat line right here. So she's already going to be, above curve here for a stat line itself. And as an action, you may spend a energy resource and you put Slingshot into play from your hand under any player's control. And at the end of the phase, if Slingshot is in play, you can return it back to your hand. So that's going to be after you draw up to your regular hand size. You can add Slingshot to that. So a pretty powerful ability here, right? If you can't afford to play her 3 costs, just spend 1 resource and you can play her to have her Thor or attack for 2. If you have like a command team in place, you can ready her up and have her activate again. She'll take 2 consequent damage for, activating twice. But if she comes back to your hand, heals all of her life, at the end of the phase. She's a very powerful ally. Alone with just her stat line, she's already going to be, very good. And that ability, adds even more. She's not going to be always good, but I am going to put her above Quake because even though Slingshot is a 3-cost ally, on paper, she can almost be a 1-cost ally that can just come in and Thor for 2 or attack for 2. Although the ally can't block, having that flexibility can be powerful, and it is really cool synergies with other type of cards that can give her raise and stuff like that. So overall, I think that she's sometimes good, not always going to be good, but a very good stat line. Alright guys, I just added in the aggression Spider-Woman ally because she also has a S.H.I.E.L.D. trait. I had both other files named Spider-Woman, and I think for some reason this tier maker website only uploaded one of them because of that, but I'm not entirely sure. Let's go ahead and evaluate both of them though. So this is the Justice one that came in Sinister Motos. 3-cost ally, 1 Thor, 2 attack, and 3 hit points, so a decent stat line for being a 3-cost ally, but she takes 2 consequent damage for attacking, which is not great. But you can reduce the cost to play her by 1 for each confused enemy in play. So this is kind of everything needs to go right. I think it's not that. I think that you definitely need to play an enemy that is non-steady or stalwart, and you usually want to play a hero that has a lot of confuses in their kit. Luckily, she is a justice aspect type of ally, so in the justice aspect there are more confuses than not, but I think that she's not as good as Melinda May, and I almost never play her. But if you can utilize her and pay her for, 2 costs, she's going to be a very good ally, very cheap for having this type of stat line. If you can get her down for 1 cost, even better. If you have 3 confused enemies in play and she's free to play, I mean, for a 3-cost ally, it's just insane. But for that effect, you also need to have minions in play so that you can confuse them. So she really needs everything to go right for her to really be good. Otherwise, she's just not good for this type of stat line for a 3-cost ally. I think a lot of the allies here, there's so much new, more powerful allies in the game of Marvel Champions. It's a lot more difficult to give an ally a higher spot because of all the newer allies that we do have now. Next, let's take a look at the Spider-Woman Jessica Drew, the aggression ally here that I also had the pleasure of revealing during 6 hero reviews. So it is a 3-cost aggression ally here, 1 Thor, 2 attack, and 3 hit points. So also having an average type of stat line right here with the S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Web Warrior trait. As a response, after a Web Warrior ally enters play, including this one, you can do 1 damage to enemy. So whenever she enters play, you're doing 1 damage, and she can swing for 2. So she's basically doing 3 damage, on the go whenever you play her, and she can activate 2 more times after that. She's very good with Web Warriors. If you play a bunch of Web Warriors, you can just ping 1 damage off. I will evaluate her, even though the rest of these are kind of S.H.I.E.L.D. allies. I will evaluate her as if we're playing with Web Warriors, and I think that she's going to be sometimes good. So not as good as Slingshot and Quake. I think around this Deathlock area here. I think, oh man, the Web Warrior Swarm can't be so good. I'm gonna put her, let me see. Ah man, but then she can just she can, I think her potential is higher than a Deathlocks, right? So if you just have her in play, and then just play a bunch of Web Warriors, every single turn, then you're doing so much damage with Spider-Woman facilitating that. So I think she can be very good. She has very high potential. She can do a lot of damage throughout the course of a game, and her floor is definitely not bad, right? Even at her worst, just because of her stat line, she's gonna be better than these allies right here, and she's coming in already doing 1 damage right away with her own ability proccing on whenever she enters play herself. So yeah, she's a powerful ally in her own right. We're down to the final 2 here. And next we have Victoria Hand, a leadership ally, also from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. expansion. 3 costs, 2 Thor, 1 attack, and 2 hit points. So terrible stat line here, only having 2 hit points for a 3-cost ally. As a response, after she enters play though, you can ready a S.H.I.E.L.D. support. So kind of a dumbed down version of Agent 13. You only do it 1 time whenever you play Victoria Hand, but she is 1 cost cheaper. But I think Agent 13 is a lot better with way more activations, right? And then each time she activates, she can do that ability to ready up a S.H.I.E.L.D. support. Victoria Hand, evaluating her with, S.H.I.E.L.D. cards. I think it's not going to be as good as Deathlock here. Not as good as Monica Chang. Not as good as Mockingbird because her upside's so good. Probably around this area here. I think she's better than C tier, but she's probably going to be sometimes good. I'll put her behind Nick Fury Sr. and in front of Dum Dum Dugan right there. And then finally, we have War Machine. He's a 4-cost ally that came to Rise of the Red Skull. 2 Thwart, 2 attack, and 3 hit points, so just a average styling here for being a 4-cost ally. But he does come with toughness, which can be very good to block out an attack that has overkill. War Machine's basic attacks also gain range, so he will not take retaliate. That is very, very niche. When it comes in clutch, it is going to be good, but usually it won't matter. The tough stats card is good. 4 cost is so expensive, and he's not doing anything right away is a thing, right? So my thing with tough stats cards on allies is that the turn you play them, they're so slow because you can't do anything. You have to not activate because if they take consequent damage, then they lose their tough stats card, right? And you want to exhaust to block. Then the next turn, they don't ready up during the player phase, right? So now you have to wait again while they're exhausted. You can't do anything with them after you play them for 2 turns. And for a 4-cost ally doing that, I just don't think he's very good. Even if everything goes right, he's still so slow. I think he's going to fill out our list here in the D tier. I think that War Machine is a resource card. He's a card that I definitely never include whenever I'm deck building. And if I draw him up, I mean, I'm pitching him to pay for something else. Probably one of these other allies up here, right? Like a Nick Fear or Marie Hill. Alright guys, that was a quick and fun little tier list here for all the S.H.I.E.L.D. allies in Marvel Champions, in honor of the review that we got for Deathlock, the new aggression ally from the Winter Soldier Hero Pack. Thank you so much to Fantasy Flight Games for this honor, and I want to give a huge shout out to my friend D20 Woodworking, who will be revealing his card tomorrow on June 5th. So definitely go check out his channel and anticipate his review coming up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and huge shout out to all my subscribers, everyone who comments, likes, all the channel members. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.